Hello and welcome to Bloke Off the Range. Now, we've done the mechanical setup of this Squier Bullet Strat. Now we're going to do some electronics, and while I've got the strings off, we're also going to polish the frets. But this video is going to be installing a coil split, so that with this humbucker pickup, we can bypass one or other of them, just to give extra sounds. Now, this will be the first time I've done anything like this, so let's see how it goes. I've got Bloke Junior here to help me. And yes, when I was a kid, they were really common. It's a butterfly screw thingy. So what I'm going to have to do is take the strings off, take the faceplate off, and we'll see what's going on inside. Also, while we've got it off, and I'll do this in another video, I'm going to use a copper anti-slug tape to shield all the electronics, and we'll see what it sounds like at the end of it. So, get the strings loose.
Whoa, there. Can I try once?
Yep, go on then.
Like...
Clockwise. That way, yeah. Right, and the next one. Yeah. And the last one.
Oh yeah, this one is going to sound good.
Okay. Then we'll just go. Whip them off. There you go, string.
Ooh, I like
String. The ends are very sharp.
My strings, not yours.
Not sure Mummy would be happy about that.
Luckily, that's not her bass guitar. Wait, for her. If you broke her bass guitar, she'd be.
I haven't broken it. I haven't broken it. Right, strings are off. Then I need that. I need one of these.
I'm going to do the string right here. Don't fall off.
Can you go get the magnet, please? That's on the floor by the amp. The round magnet with a hook on it.
Yeah, I know that. I know what magnet. You need the magnet?
Because I want to keep hold of all those screws. So if you can hoover up all the screws with it.
I like sticking magnets to magnets.
Okay.
What?
All right. Oh, it looks like they might have shielded it anyway.
And they're not U-wire. The wires are magnet.
Right, well, it's actually looking like in here we've got some sort of black paint already, so I'm wondering, if we just zoom in, if it's conductive or not. So I have a multimeter. Let's stick it to resistance. Where's resistance? Resistance. Well, after changing the battery in this, Nick, could you hold that like that, please, so the camera can see it?
Okay.
There. Now, is this shielded? Yes, it is. This is shielded. Okay, that's one less thing to worry about. One less thing to do. Excellent. Okay. Off.
But if it was not shielded.
Well, then I would fill that with tape. Shielding tape. Now, next thing. So this, camera round. This is partly shielded, so we shall shield all around that. So what we're going to do is put a simple toggle switch in about there that will short out one or other of these coils. So the next thing we've got to look at is this a two wire through? There's only one wire coming off of this. This is confusing. You know what, we can't do this. Slight problem here. This is a 2-wire humbucker. It's internally wired. This fat green wire actually has a black and a white attached to it. There and there. What we would do if this was a 4-wire is that we'd have some exposed contact here and we short one or other of them out, but we can't, so I won't. So all I'm going to be able to do here really is put some shielding on the back of the scratch plate. Oh, that's a shame. I mean, I guess I could, if I really wanted to risk it, I could take this apart. It's not a sealed unit, it's fixed together by screws, but I think what I might end up doing is replacing this at another time with a 4-wire humbucker. Bugger. Right, so yeah, after giving this some thought, I'm going to have to buy a different humbucker there where I can get at each end of the coil electrically without disassembling Johnny 5 here. So what I've got is some anti-slug tape, this copper tape, and I'm going to cut this, stick it down, and make it all nice and electrically connective. And before I do so, just a quick check to see whether, yep, that surface is conductive. Oops. So I shall move the camera down and get on with this. Now, something to remember here is that the glue on the back of this is not conductive. So once we've done laying this out, what we're going to have to do is make an electrical connection from strip to strip. So just to illustrate that, I've got my multimeter here set to resistance, and there's probably, oh no, that made contact. That made contact. That didn't though. So clearly sometimes there's enough of the copper that touches the other bit of copper, because we've got contact there, but no contact there. But what if I smudge that down? Have we got contact? Yes! And have we got contact here? No. Smudge it down, score it a bit. Can I? No. Can't get contact there. That there, obviously, contact. Right. So I'm just going to finish this off camera because this is boring. Right, so now I've got that copper taped up as best I can, and we need to see where we've got electrical connection. No. Oh, yes. No. Yes. Yes. No. 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 Okay, there's electrical connection some places and others not. It must just be where bits of copper actually come into contact. But we have a solution. In this here syringe, we have some silver containing paint/glue, which is conductive. And then all we're going to do here is at every little, I'm going to put a couple of blobs of this at every interface. Hair got it. I use this to fix the kids' Wii U controller power supply. Just a couple of blobs to ensure that connection is made when it dries. It does not conduct particularly well, if at all, when wet. There's no need to put massive lines of it. We're just trying to make a little electrical connection. We're not handling any current really here, so just going to go around and very inexpertly blub this on. The chap is the one who's good at arts and crafts. I am not. I'm just trying to have a bit of redundancy in here, so putting at least 2 blobs on each interface. Who hasn't had one yet? Well, you can have a second one. Whoops, too much. So key back up. Oops. A third. You are all good by the looks of things. So that can go back on there. That can go away for another day. Let's just see if any of these are now connected. Ha! So, actually, even when wet. So the manufacturer was lying when they said that it wouldn't conduct when wet. Because this bit of shielding here that was already pre-existing on there, that is shielded, that's connected to earth, as is the case of the pots here. So if I can just check that every single piece of tape gives me a resistance of nothing, or 5 ohms, whatever. I should put it down to 200. Let's see what actually is the resistance with the stuff wet. Can't make up its mind. 150 odd. So anyway, that is then all, once that's dry, that will all be electrically connected together, which is nice. So we'll leave that overnight to dry, and in the meantime I'll probably get on with polishing the frets, but there's probably no point in showing you that at all because it's just masking tape between the frets and then polishing them. Boring. Right, so in the meantime, some time has passed. I did everything, I restrung it and played it a bit, and these tuners have got to be replaced, so I've got my drill bits and my drill out, and also in the meantime a new pickup arrived. Whoa-hey! From China, cost about $9, wrapped up like a sandwich. And it's a 4-wire, so to look at which wire does what, but we should be able to install this on here with coil split and everything, and should be good. So let's get back inside this thing. Okay, so I've got an on-off-on toggle switch. I've got to decide where I want to put it. Probably there. Ooh, that's going to be fun to get in. Yeah, if I drill that, I should be able to solder it out and then put it in. So I'm going to need to drill that. I'm going to need to get rid of that. Soldering iron is warming up. I also need to determine what wire does what here. So the two that are together are the midpoint. Those I'm going to solder to the middle here, like that. The connections that the manufacturer gave me didn't seem to make sense, but I think this one here, which is green and bare, that's ground, and then black is signal, which is a completely weird way to do it, given that the convention for like everything is that black is ground. Let us just check. So if I switch this to resistance, I should I should be able to measure. Depends where it's grounded. Huh. Right, well there's some coating on this. I'm just going to have to scratch through it to make a connection. Yeah, there we go. You're finding a lot of this stuff is actually slightly plastic coated. So sometimes you have to scratch through the coating and that will work. That is ground. That is the midpoint by definition because it's two wires joined together. And the black is signal. So, what am I going to do first? I'm going to drill a hole. Okay, my simplest thought is that if I cut through this, this will have a signal lead and a coax, which will be going to the right places. The coax will be the ground, but I can check it. And the core will be signal, and then I'll actually have plenty of wire to work with, and I can always cut it back later. So, what do we have? Yes, we do. Always have all your tools where you need them. That's part of the problem of working at a table rather than actually in a workshop environment. Ooh. Out you come. So, again, we'll check, measure twice, cut once, as it were. So, I know that's earthed, and that's good. Right. Confirmed that core is as it rightly should have been. The shielding there is ground. Okay, I'm just going to tin this. I might cut it back later. It's just for the minute. And tinning it, for those who have not done electronics in the past, it stops it fraying all over the place and being a pest. So, bit of solder. There we go. Okay, right. So now, turn this back round, and this can come out. Off it pops. Okay. Has its springs. Right. This new one has different springs. And the next question is, which way round do we want it? Probably doesn't matter, but that way around there is logical. So there's probably a knack to doing these that I don't know because I've never done one before. It probably involved doing it without it all attached like this. Three-handed job. I only need to get it to take a couple of threads. There we go. And then it will sort itself out. Oh, wrong way. These springs are not symmetrical. Quite cunning. But, right. Next up, a little hole for the switch. Okay, so I've got a hole of the right size and deburred well enough, I think. Hang on, maybe just a little swizz with a file here. Shouldn't matter too much. Going to be hidden by the nut anyway. Where are we? Oh, wires out the opposite side. It shouldn't matter. There's probably a reason. I mean, I don't know how it's internally wired anyway, but just more than enough wire. The other one came out there. Should I turn it around? I can always turn it around later, I guess. Right. Anyway, what we're doing here is the coil split. So when this is run normally, that's ground. It runs through one coil, up through one of these wires to the other, and they are twisted, if not, no, they're soldered together, back down the other, through the other coil, and to signal. And what you do with the coil split is you short out one or other of these. So you either short that out to ground, which bypasses one of the coils, or you short that out to signal, which bypasses the other of the coil. When the switch is in the middle, it's off, nothing's connected, so it's running the full two coils. When it's switched on one way or the other, it's shorting out one or other of these. Now there are other ways of wiring these. You can wire them, this is series, you can wire them in parallel, you can do all sorts of different things. You can wire them in phase, out of phase, in phase with that, out of, basically the world is your oyster. But what we're going to do here to make our lives as absolutely easy as possible is we are going to solder, and I need to open this up a bit, but we're going to solder the two grounds together there, solder the middle one to there, and we're going to solder the two signals to there, and job will be jobbed. So, yep, I'm going to need to strip this back just a touch more to give me a little bit more room to work with. I'm out of practice. Used to be really good at this. So I have a high level in electronics, you know. And a degree in engineering, so I had to do this. Right, not with guitars though. So, moving swiftly on now to the action. I need those two, solder those two there. Oh man, I'm not going to show you that in close up. That is some ugly soldering. I am so out of practice. It is literally 17 years since I've actually done any electronic soldering. It was functional though. It will work, he says. So we're off. That should give us a fairly high resistance between those two. Wait. 14 kilo ohms. Should have about half that. Yeah, 7 between those two. 7 between those two. And then if I switch it that way, I get 7 between those two and infinity between those two. And then I should get 7 between these two. Yeah, it's not quite stable, that might just be me. There we go, 7 and infinity. It works! Right. Next step is need to have 3 hands and be on this side of it. Block it from rotating. Okay, so now that's humbucking. That's one of them, don't know which. That's the other, don't know which. Right. Crap out of there. So that all tucked in. Oh, that's why it's that way around. Okay, now I understand. Right. Stupid. That's that way around. Because that needs to go down that hole. Turn around, back in a moment. Finally. I make these mistakes so you don't have to, and I kind of like filming me the first time doing something, because sort of you get to see how you get it wrong, and everyone can learn from that. So this is flat now, so all I have to do is do up the vast number of screws around the outside. Hope that my pathetic soldering skills from almost 2 decades ago are actually adequate, but the multimeter says yes for the minute, so we'll see. There. See once I string it up and plug it in. I haven't set the height of this yet. I've just roughly set it, and I can bring it up or down when we're in position. So right, so the next thing we're going to do is, with my appalling drilling skills, we're going to try and install better nuts, better tuners. Okay, now the issue with these tuners from last time was that my much better Wilkinson locking tuners don't have the same stem width as these. I'll show you what I mean. These are junk. I mean, absolute. I mean, they don't get simpler than that, but that is junk. These are better, but they've got a bigger stem there. So we need to relieve that gently. Don't think we have to go all the way through on it, but there's also inside here there's a bushing. So what we will need to do for each of these, this has its own bushing, which is the right size, but what we need to do is make that hole there bigger. Yes, it's got to go all the way through actually, because this bushing goes up inside that. So, okay, I'm not going to show you what I just did because it went really badly. It was really embarrassing, and I have a pretty high threshold for YouTube embarrassment, but let's just say that was atrocious. I've got these new tuners in. Don't ask how. It's pretty bad. Anyway, they're locking tuners, simple locking tuners, but with a just with a pair of holes. And so now we're going to put some pretty bog standard Alice 10s on there. They should be. Okay, so how these are supposed to work is that you put them in one hole, pull it tight, bring it back over 270 degrees, in the other hole, tight, and then just tune it. Question is, will it? Okay, so I've put some new strings on. These locking tuners, despite being super simple, do seem to do what they say on the tin. Just waiting for the tuning to get stable. Stretch out, this little tip from Sam Deeks is to stretch out the strings yourself rather than waiting for them to settle. But be very careful with these strings, I just broke one. But these are so much more reactive. I'm going to keep tuning this. It's funny, as it's settling, it's going sharp for some reason. Normally it's flat. There we go. Right, so let's out of tuning mode. Find something vaguely cleanish. So I want something slightly clean with. So that's the full humbucker. Switch to the right. Switch to the left. So I think the left, that is cancelling that one, and that is cancelling that one, because that's a slightly warmer sound. And that's a more twangy sound, so it's going to be up that end of the string. The other question is, how will it sound mix these two? So not as much difference on that setting. They are three different sounds, but the two sides of the coil split are fairly similar. Actually, maybe not. That's a bit thinner. That's full. It's a bit softer. There's more mid in it with the switch back, and there's. It's not the full. It's not the full Strat quack with the standard setup, but I like it, and I think with the height it's alright. Now let's just see how it has kept tuning. Bang on. Oh, these are so much better. Yes, yes, yes. Close enough. Where? So, there you go, that's how you make a crappy guitar. Alright-ish. Total cost, these were £20 from Amazon.co.uk. That was like $9 from AliExpress. The switches are like 75 cents. A couple of blobs of solder, lots of tearing your hair out. But there you got 5 new sounds on an HSS Strat. So there you go. Thanks for watching. This is probably boring as hell. Probably nobody reached this far. Anyway, cheers. Bye.